Hey, what's up, y'all? So this is second podcast, one day at a time, Addict for Addicts. Last week, we started off with the definition of spiritual awakening. Every week, I would like to start off with like maybe a quote or a definition. So this week, I found a quote. Me and my man Lopo picked it out together. Not everything that's faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's faced. So I guess a personal experience and how that applied to me is I had to face I'm an addict. You know what I'm saying? That some of the things I had to face was denial for a long time. An addict to me was the guy that lives underneath the fucking bridge. An addict to me was the guy that lives on the train station. An addict to me wasn't someone holding a job or somebody with a roof over their head. But denial's a fucked up thing. For a long time I didn't think I was an addict. So I had to face the fact that I'm an addict. I had to face the fact that I need help. That's one of, I guess, the hardest things. Addict, not addict. Is ask for help. Is to put that pride down, right? Pride comes before the destruction of man. So I had to face that I needed help. Had to surrender to the whole fucking thing. I had to know that I know absolutely nothing about any of this, because if I knew anything, I got this fucked up in my life from it. So if I knew how to do recovery, if I knew how to make it work on my own, I would have made it work, and it didn't happen. So when I went away to Sukasa, a lot of people like to punch holes into the program. Counselors don't do this person don't do that. But what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing for yourself in there? But them counselors do work, definition of hear and listen to me, right? So hear is you acknowledge it and then it's gone. Attention span of a goldfish, like I'll give an example. Listen is you hear the message, you break it down, and you understand the words. I was hearing a lot of stuff they were saying and listening to some of the stuff, but the stuff I guess I was hearing, I understand it, I hear it better, listen to it better now. A lot of things they were saying. So for me, that's what I needed to do in order to face, how to face my addiction. So the next part, I asked people once, like boredom. Boredom for me is a bad trigger. I had to ask a question about trigger. So I was getting a lot of messages about stress. So I had done some research, I want to understand stress a little more, maybe understand the different types of stress, and maybe understand how to deal with stress a little bit better. So these are some of the things I found. These are some of the things I feel like it works. These are some things that are working for me. So just to start off with just a definition of stress. It's physical and emotional response we have to events that threaten or challenge us. So when something stressful comes in your life, there's two things I guess we could do. I know there's two things I did. It's either you could fight it or you could flight it. In active use, I ran from everything. Ran like it was a sprint, right? So they say life's a marathon. Why? Because when you're sprinting, your problems, they're behind you, but you're going to have to stop to catch your breath. Marathon, you break yourself down, you know what I'm saying? You break it out where it's just a constant motion. When you sprint and you got to stop, all them problems that you ran from now hit you in one fucking motion. So it's either you fight or flight. I would always have to keep running because the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger. But as I started like myself and started going through this process, I started to fight things, little things, and win some battles, lose some battles, but I started winning battles, and then winning battles made me want to keep fighting. So when I was doing the research, I found that there is 3 different types of stress. There's something called cataclysmic events, something like a death, something that occurs suddenly, things that we really don't have any control of. So that's one type of stress. That's not in our control. So we like to recite the serenity prayer, right? So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to accept the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So understand that there's some things that we can't change. Then there's a second type. It's called personal stresses, major life events that produce physical and psychological reaction. So there's 2 types. There's negative things that could happen to your life that could cause personal stresses. Then there's positive things in your life that could cause personal stresses. So some of the negative ones is like losing a job or ending a relationship. It's negative. Then there's positive things that could happen that could cause stress in your life, because not everything that causes stress is a negative thing. Getting married could cause stress because now joint incomes, house, family. So now that there's so many new things that you brought into your life that it's going to cause stress. And then another positive one is, instead of losing a job, starting a new job. So now you start a new job, the stress of maybe want to show all your skills right away. That's how I used to be. I used to hit a job and want to just show I'm the best at everything the first day. one of the great pieces of advice I got was to take your time and then go even slower. When I was a kid, I was not hearing that. Doing a little bit better now at it. But so the first one, cataclysmic events, things that happen suddenly. Then the second was personal stresses, both negative and positive. The third one was just daily hassles. Just minor little things that could happen during the day that could cause stress. Give an example. Waiting in line at fucking DMV. That causes stress. Waiting in a fucking traffic jam. Or just never feeling like you have enough time. So those are the three different types of stress. So when I kept going into the research a little bit, there was something that came after. So how do you deal with stress? So there's coping, strategies that you could use to deal with stress. So the definition of coping, because I'm not saying the definition, saying y'all don't understand. I had to look it up because there's words that we hear every day that, that we just don't understand the definition. We know the word, how it's said in language or through text messages or social media. So for me, I had to look it up. So coping is the effort to control, reduce, or tolerate the threats that lead to stress. One of the best things I found that, it just kept repeating itself is your physical condition. Physical condition is one of the most important things to deal with stress. I guess that's why maybe college kids, younger kids, their bodies don't take such a toll, I guess, at that age than if you were 30, 40, 50, and so on. Dealing with stress could cause a heart attack. Very rarely do you hear a fucking 21-year-old having stress in class getting a fucking heart attack. But so some of the coping strategies that they stated was to take charge of the situation. So I guess, personal example, I took charge of my life. Realized I had a problem, pain and desperation. Was it either fight or flight, right? Going back to what we were just talking about. At that pain and desperation, just last time. The other times I flew, ran like a motherfucker. This time I stood and fought because it was just different this time. Everyone has to accept this invitation more than once. Nobody gets this shit right. And if you did get it right, it's not going to last. It's like beginner's luck. It's like going to a fucking blackjack table and getting 21 on your first hand. Worst fucking possible thing that could happen. Because now you think you're going to always win. You're just going to keep throwing that money, keep throwing it. So it's all right. And then don't waste energy to change the unchangeable. We were just talking about that. So the past. We all, like I spoke about it, I'm going to say it again. This is Halloween week. So, skeletons are a big theme of Halloween week. Hit up my DM, hit up my cell phone, 646-923-4711. Addict, not a, share a skeleton that's in your closet. Don't even got to be something big. Just share it. You never even know how you're going to feel. But with going on with it, the past is done and over. There's nothing we can do about it. And our death is already fucking chiseled in the grave to the minute, the hour, the minute, the fucking second. It's in there. It's already down. So the only thing that we can control that's in our control, can't control the past, shit's over with. Death, we can't control. That shit's already going to happen. The way it's going to happen is our work ethic. Right in this moment. It's the only thing that we can control. So I don't even give a fuck if you just shot a fucking bag up. I don't give a fuck if you just did something. What are you going to do in this moment now? That moment's over with. Stop living in the past and let's start moving forward with it. So this is one big one that really works for me. Looking for the silver lining. Once things started getting better, I stopped looking at things in a negative light. And anything that negative in my life now is a positive motivation to keep going. Because what else? The other way doesn't work. I tried it for 36 years. Tried it. Does not work. I promise you, I'm not lying to you. Go get the fucking polygraph. Get whatever the fuck you need. I'm not lying to you. All right? It does not work to stay in negative feelings. Don't let your feelings consume you. Use it to motivate you to move on more. So the next one is they change the way you perceive the situation. It's the same thing like find the silver lining, in my opinion. Talk to family and friends. So this is why you got to put people around you that are going to challenge you and not people around that's just going to yes the shit out of you and just go along with your shit, but going to pull you up on your shit. So you're going to need people in your life to challenge, because me in between these 2 ears with my thoughts is not a good place to be, because eventually that part of me is going to be able to manipulate me. Eventually, I can fight it off. Eventually, our egos are our worst fucking enemies. Everybody talks us out of doing things, talks us into doing things. So the people around you are going to have to know who you are and what your true intentions are. So in order that, you're going to have to be honest with them. You're going to have to, you want trust, you got to give trust. You want someone to respect your opinion, you got to respect their opinion. So these are some of the things I've been putting in place. It's been working for me. And then finally, one of the last things to deal with is meditation. So I'm going to get into that. Kate mentions that. But so really just developing coping strategies. We get into a little more. So I just wanted to get into that with stress because a lot of people did mention that's one of their triggers. And then when we come back, we got we got the advertisement. We go Bagel Cafe, and me and Lopo sit down on the conversation couch over there. Now let's pay some bills. So I just want to let y'all know, you know what I'm saying, Bagel Cafe over in Howard Beach, 16254 Cross Bay Boulevard. You know what I'm saying? My man Jay, my man Mickey. This is the, their little pen. My man Jay, my man Mickey have really good business going on there. You know, if you ever want to order, they deliver. Uber Eats, they do it all. Their phone number, 718-843-5700. Again, that's 718-843-5700. Or you can hit them up online, www.hbbagelcafe.com. Again, you know what I'm saying? My girl Maria there, she a manager. You can let them know you spoke to Mike, a.k.a. Sunshine. My favorite meal there is probably their chicken parm panini. So, Bagel Cafe, y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you're ever down on the Cross Bay Boulevard, Howard Beach, you know what I'm saying? You're going to the beach in the summer. You know what I'm saying? Really check out their food. Really dope place. All right, y'all. So the part of the podcast right now we're going to jump to is the conversation couch. There's a conversation that I really want to get started between addicts and non-addicts. I spoke about, listening to somebody without judgment. I think that's the only way to really listen to somebody. So my man Lopo right here got a few questions, and then I got a few that came in through the DM. We picked a couple, and then we're going to go from there. So without further ado, my man Lopo.
Well, to me, it's always been hard to imagine why someone would be an addict or how they ended up in that place, because especially nowadays, there's so many, advertisements as to what it does to you, so many warnings and so many guidelines and so many, forms of aid you could get before it even gets to that point. To me, it always seems like a weird cry for attention kind of thing. And I've always wondered, does an addict always stay an addict? Is he forever stuck waiting for that next relapse, or do they ever overcome those demons within them?
So I guess we'll break it down. So as far as does an addict always stay an addict, I think that there's two types of addicts. There's an addict in recovery, and then there's an addict in active use. But I do feel one's an addict, always an addict, because I don't think we were addicts because we did drugs. I think we did drugs because we were addicts. I think we were addicts long before the drugs. I know me personally, just my addictive behavior just showed that I had the tendencies, how I would ride things into the ground, how I never took my time with things, how I was always looking for instant gratification. That's one of the things, Loco, with addicts is that instant gratification. So as far as doing recovery sometimes hard for us because it's a slow process. Like me with the painkillers. For me, what painkillers did for me, I'm an adrenaline junkie. So for me, it allowed me to be 100% 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you start doing it, what it's going to make you look like and everything like that. But us addicts, we don't even care if you just did a bag and OD'd. If anything, I want to know where the fuck you got it from, because that shit must be strong. So that these are the doors that we start going through as an addict. Like if you're a drug dealer and someone died on your shit, best believe you're gonna sell out the next day.
But you don't feel any anxiety, like, oh come on, this shit's dirty that I'm doing. Like
you do right before. I know for me, and you guys could always hit me up on the DM. For me, it just. I did until the drug had kicked in. And then I had to keep doing the drug to keep masking the pain for feeling dirty, to keep masking the hurt, like I explained on the IG video, to try to explain it to a non-addict. You ever have a toothache and the tooth hurts so hard, but when you bite down the pressure, it relieves the pain a little bit. But when it relieves the pain, once you let go of that pressure, the pain's going to come back. So the pressure for us is the drug.
Right.
It's taking away the pain, knowing that once that drug wears off, the pain's going to hurt more. But then you got to go get high again.
It always feels like that you're an addict, to me, is always a ticking time bomb. Like, here it is. Here is the path. Here are the breadcrumbs going. Oh, he's itching. He's moving a little faster than normal. It always feels like that those addicts are a ticking time bomb. Do you think that's like a bad perception that like non-addicts have or could have?
No, because you gotta sleep in the bed you build, right? So like us as addicts, we built that bed. You know what I'm saying? So as far as for me, I was that addict for a long time. I get clean and then I start showing the tendencies, and then it was like, all right, stay away from Mike, but they were in every right. How could I get mad at you for feeling that way when I'm giving you the actions and the ammo for you to feel that way?
So a part of the recovery process is coming to grips with the fact that you are an addict.
Yes.
You know what? I can't handle
you
it.
have to surrender, like I was saying earlier in the podcast. I had to surrender to I had to understand that I don't have the answers to this. I don't know how to do this. So until you fully surrender that this, for me personally, you know what I'm saying, I could be wrong. I'd love to hear, you know, your perspective on it. But for me personally, I had to fully surrender to this.
Do you blame yourself for like why you got addicted, or what was just going on in your life at that time?
So there's two answers to that question. Now I blame myself. Back then it was everybody else's fucking fault.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? While I'm using, it's my job's fault. They fucked up. It's my mother's fault. It's my sister's fault. It's this.
Your dad feeling sick.
Yes, it's everyone else's fault but mine. When I'm using, I didn't surrender to the process yet, and I didn't start letting out the skeletons out of my closet. Now it was my decisions and choices. It had nothing to do with my job. It had nothing to do with the fucking drug. It was just everyone else's. Now it's my problem. And you know what? It's my problem to fix. And it's a beautiful feeling once you start being able to rely on yourself to fix your own problems, y'all. Because I know in active using, I needed everyone else to fix my problems. I needed to find one of my ex-girlfriends I was with that I had a good time, that I wasn't a bad addict with, thinking if I got with her, it would clean my life up. I was going everywhere else when all I needed was really the person that I'm sitting with right now.
Right. You know, to me, just being an addict, it just always seems like they always blame themselves. But it seems like to me, for your recovery, the key to overcoming that addiction and accepting, it was just accepting who you are. That,
Yes.
you know what, I am this motherfucking addict who can't control around being these types of environments.
Yes.
And that could probably help be a thought for some of the addicts that are still struggling. Maybe you shouldn't wear this mask, that, oh, it's just this weird vice I have that I need to get rid of and make sure no one knows about. So you would say a good tip would be to them is just, you know,
let it out.
Wear it on your shoulder or your sleeve, as they say.
And I'm a firm believer today that anything I lost already wasn't meant to be in my life. I wasn't meant to have it. So anybody that I lose in my life now because I'm this honest, y'all could go fuck yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Loyalty, listen to me for a second. Loyalty has an expiration date. Not everyone's going to stay with me on this process. And how long do you stay with someone that's not helping you move forward? Is it then you're not being loyal? Are you being selfish? You know what? With this recovery shit, I am going to be fucking selfish with it.
Right. So you had a couple of people DM you, and people are really reaching out to us. You should really consider just sending Mike your questions, the Instagram page. Don't be afraid, even if you're a non-addict. If you're just curious and you're watching this video because you're a friend of Mike or knew Mike or even me, just ask the question. Don't be afraid. We can do it anonymously. I know sometimes not everybody wants their name attached to it. So please send us your questions. Mike, if you can, read the...
So one of the questions I chose, what's the hardest thing to do sober? So that's fucking everything. But to give an honest answer, one of the hardest things I find to do sober is be tired. I'm not used to being tired, like I said, with the pain pills. I'm not used to being tired. So every time I got tired, there was always a drug I could take to go right back up. Getting used to being tired and it being okay and knowing that it's not because it's withdrawal. So that for me is the hardest thing. I would love to hear other people's answers.
I got a question for you. So when you got off of work, because you're one of the addicts that were able to work and give himself money so he could buy drugs and live. So it was an easy way for you to get caught up in that. So what do you look forward to going home to now? Because I feel like it used to be drugs. Like, you know what? Shit, it's 5 o'clock, going home, gonna pop one, but see what's going on.
Yeah.
So what do you look forward to when you go home now?
I mean, now one of the main things is what we're trying to do right here with the podcast. This isn't just something that just happened last week because it's the first episode. I mean, if there's anyone that's watching this that's from Chukasa, you know this shit started 10, 12 months ago.
And us two have been talking since our softball season started, because that's how we met, playing softball with each other, and It just felt right, and that started over 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And it took us over 2 months to finally make a first episode because of how much thought we put into it.
Yeah. So I guess that we'll go with the next question. What advice would I give myself at rock bottom? And that is a fucking great question. Or what advice would I give myself walking through the doors of a rehab? And to be honest with you, I don't think I would even say anything to myself, because what the fuck am I gonna say? Don't tell me nothing, because there's nothing you're gonna be able to say that's gonna help me. I'm gonna have to experience everything. So what advice would I give? I wouldn't give any. Me now, going back to me, because I would be hurting myself. Like, if I give myself sympathy, I'm gonna justify why I've been fucking up. So instead, I'm gonna switch it to empathy. I'm sorry. I feel for him, but I can't help you. You're gonna have to do this yourself. So that's the advice, I guess, right there. And then on the last one, when did I know I was an addict? And believe it or not, it's crazy. I wasn't even an addict. Yeah, maybe it was just smoking weed. I was working in the deli. I was like 16 years old. And I just remember, like y'all know my father was an addict. I was working for a guy that was an addict. I remember looking at this guy and then thinking of my father, and then me being 16, I'm like, yo, if I ever do dope, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. And this is me at 16 thinking this. So that's when I realized that I have it, the tendencies in me, and then I just started looking at it. So, with that, those are the questions that we got from the DM. I just didn't really want to go too far. I appreciate all of y'all. I love all of y'all. Y'all are inspiring me to do more. Keep hitting up the page. And once again, this is, the first episode, first segment of a conversation on the couch. Thank you, y'all. All right, y'all. So this is probably one of my most favorite parts of podcast right here. So I got something again from Nikki. So again, her IG is Nikki NIKKY_. I've been saying planes. It's plans. I'm sorry. She just says it with a Z. So to start all over again, it's Nikki NIKKY_ plans PLANZ. Hit up her page. And then I got something from Kate. I explained y'all a little bit about Kate on the IG. One of the most spiritual sound person I've ever met so far through my recovery process. She sent me something, I had asked her a question, like what worked for her. So I got a little something that she shared. I'm also going to tag her. You guys are more than welcome to hit her page. She is always ready, willing, and able to help somebody out, which is dope. All right, so we're going to start off with Nikki's. I always wonder who's going to hear when I cry, who's going to miss me when I die. Is anyone going to see when I fall, or just walk away like they didn't see anything at all? All these things are unchangeable, beyond my control, but I pray to my higher power that it will help me accept the things I cannot change, but only I can change the things I can. And I'm hoping God will help me understand the difference. Sometimes I think I'm a little bit sicker than most. Like what type of disease attached itself and used me as a host. I know I'm more powerful than what meets the eye. And if you think I'm going to give up, haha, and FYI, I'm back on my feet. Taking these steps and not allowing defeat. I have used to live and lived to use. I walked around carrying a tune of sad blues, and now I surrender to what keep me alive. I can only be willing to accept what I can change and strive. I keep what I have by giving it away, and now I have the choice to choose who can stay in my life, because I know what I deserve, and I'd rather be heard than stand silent and reserved. From where I was to where I am now, sometimes I sit and wonder how. My sickness has only been rested, but rest assured it can always be tested. But unlike before, I will not fail. I will keep walking only to prevail. My self-obsession will always continue to play tricks, but you have no idea who's taking walks in these kicks. Someone once told me our past is for reference and not resonance, and I can tell you who doesn't reside in the present. We have to be willing to be uncomfortable so we don't get stuck. And trust me, I get uncomfortable and I'm no longer a sitting duck. Today I have a choice, and I will tell you right now, I don't yet believe in God, but I sure as hell gonna rejoice, because I don't need to live that way anymore. I don't have to be sick, and I can see the sun when I open the door. Word from the wise, take it a step at a time, one day at a time, and don't forget where you came from, because you could always unrest that demon and fall right back in line. But just for today, I walk in front of my demons. Just for today, I walk in front of my demons, walk behind. Never forgotten and always remembered, I know where I came from. Nikki, Fire, Nikki. Hit up my girl. Hit up her page. Show her some fucking love, y'all. Nikki, NIKKY_plans. PLANZ. So, moving forward, so with Kate, I had asked her, what works for her. So this is, just a text message. I asked if she could share it. Kate, thank you for letting me share it. So she wrote, I always believed in a power greater than myself, but I never thought of that God is loving. I thought he chose me to be example to everyone else of what not to be. I had the mentality of a victim that only changed when I started AA. People talked about having a spiritual awakening. I had one, but it wasn't a bright light experience. I think it was more of a feeling that made me feel like I had just been wrapped in a really warm blanket. That God had me and all was good. I still have experiences like that today. Ever just look off a mountaintop and into the ocean and just be in complete awe of how beautiful and big it is? And in those moments that I feel good too, I feel God too. Maintaining my spirituality does take effort. After almost 4 years sober, good shit. After 4 years sober, I still have to practice prayer and meditation. I've made contact with my higher power, and now I want to deepen that bond and trust every day. When things are good, I pray. When things are bad, I pray. When I need guidance, I listen to meditation. Prayer is taken to God, and meditation is listening. Both are important. Those who seek a relationship will receive one. It's that simple. Having a relationship with my higher power allows me to be anything and anything I want to. I can go to bars and not drink because I'm spiritually fit. If I went to a bar when I had nothing to rely on except myself, we all know where that would end. Now I will say there are days I'm off and I won't be able to go to a bar. The awareness I have and honesty I have keeps me in check. I don't go if I feel weak. I don't think it's smart for addicts to hang out in bars at all, actually. But there will be a time when it doesn't seem impossible if you can make that spiritual connection. So, Kate, thank you for sharing that. Again, I'm going to tag her. You're more than welcome to hit her up. She's a qualified counselor. And another thing before we end the show, if there's anyone out there that needs help, when I say my team, I have certified KSAC people, counselors that are just a phone call away. I have 2 RNs. I've been calling up programs, just getting, letting them know what I'm trying to do, the message, that there are intake places. Call us up, y'all. We can help. All right. Mike Fury, 646-923-4711. Again, this is the second podcast, one day at a time. Addict for Addicts. Let's inspire to inspire, y'all.